Good afternoon, my name's Emma and I'm from Dandelion Education, a proud co-founder with Hayley, who's also in the audience, and these are some of our staff who later on you'll get a chance to question. We at Dandelion, we're outside, entirely outside. We have 2 nurseries, 2 alternative provisions and 2 dens which are for home ed and flexi ed children. And today I'm here to celebrate something that I think is truly inspiring and something that is really, really close and dear to my heart. And it is that about 80% of the staff at Dandelion identify as neurodiverse. And I think that's fairly wonderful. And yet, in the UK today, 78% of adults with autism are unemployed. And I think that is shocking, and as a society we should be ashamed of that. I also am going to talk to you today about why it shouldn't be the case. What if, really simple question, what if we saw neurodiversity not as a challenge, sometimes society might think it is, but as an asset? And if you imagine a world where everyone's unique mind is valued and celebrated and harnessed for success, whatever success looks like to us, imagine that. I'd say it's quite positive. So let's play a little game. What if? What if everybody in the world was the same height? Would that matter? Would it be okay? What if everybody in the world wanted to do the same job? Maybe be a ballet dancer. I don't have very good balance. But if everybody wanted to be a ballet dancer, would that matter for society? And I think along the same lines, what if all of our brains worked in the same way? Would that matter? And I would say, yes, it probably would. The truth is that diversity of our minds is, I would say, what makes us strong, or one of the things that makes us really strong. And yet, society often perpetuates really limiting stereotypes. One that we see a lot at Dandelion is women can't use tools. I can tell you that literally, many years ago, I was at Dandelion, we used a lot of tools. If you want a toy, you make it. I was using an axe and a little boy in front of me said, girls can't use tools. I said, well, am I a girl? Yes, because I'm a woman. Yes, he agreed. And am I using an axe? Yes, he agreed. Can girls use tools? No. And that's the problem with the stereotypes, isn't it? They become so hardwired, even with little children. Another one, men don't do chores like hoovering. Clearly we all understand that a man can use a hoover, but that stereotype is so predominant in many parts of our society. And another really sad one, I would say, is that neurodiverse individuals are often seen as being difficult to work with. I think that's quite predominant in our society as well. And I think that's sad that we see neurodiverse people as being difficult to work with. I think it's also unnecessary. But at Dandelion, we think differently. And our goal, obviously, is always to employ the best person for the job. And we always do employ the best person for the job. And guess what? The majority of the time, that best person also happens to be neurodiverse. It's not what we set out to do. That is just the best person for the job. And for us, that is a strength. At the heart of Dandelion, we work with children as a nursery. It's giving children a voice, supporting emotional literacy, nurturing creativity and critical thinking, and understanding that behaviour is language. I don't have a tattoo because I'm a little bit of a coward, but if I did have a tattoo, it would be behaviour is language. And I think we should all have that tattooed on our hearts, if nowhere else. Behaviour is language. If we understand that, we understand a lot. Just juggling the microphone now. So the early years sector, which is what we are, has so many challenges to stop us doing what we want to do, which is being the very best education we can, the best care and the best education. Funding is a real challenge because it doesn't meet the cost of actually providing high quality education. And society's attitude is again a real challenge. Early years is not respected. I think more and more We are seen as childcare, as babysitting, to get as many adults as we can out to work, look after the children, keep them safe, job done. That is not job done. That isn't what we're here for. We are here for so much more than that. And our staff, who are really, really highly trained, compassionate, dedicated, have achieved outstanding results despite all those barriers for early years. They are excellent. 3 out of 4 Ofsteds we have been rated as outstanding in all areas. We've won lots of awards. We were UK Nursery of the Year. We've won a SEND Award, Inclusion Awards, Forest School Awards, awards for our team, for teamwork, and enabling environments. And although those are great, love an award on the shelf, can't lie. But what's really important is they tell us how excellent our staff are. Our staff aren't just here as a tick box. They are, I think one of our dandelions might be nearly asleep over there. They are excellent. By any standard you care to judge us by, excellent. And remember, 80% of them are neurodiverse. Let's zoom back. I'm just going to tell you a very quick bit about my own history and how I got here. I'm not very good with a microphone, I'm afraid. I spent decades working in primary schools, and I absolutely loved my job, loved it. I was allowed to teach in the way that suited me and suited the children. To be honest, we were outside for the majority of the time, all year, even in a primary school. We used music, philosophy, dance, all sorts of things. Children learnt. They still met all the standards I had to reach. We still did that. But then policies changed and there was more and more and more testing. I just remember sitting once with a child who was doing the phonics test. I don't know if anybody knows about the Year 1 phonics test. And this child was sobbing. I had my hand on their back and the child could read, but what they couldn't do very easily was decode the nonsense words that they use in phonics tests. Because they could read so well and they'd learnt to read quite early, they just read and they were sobbing, and I just literally thought, this is not okay anymore. I'm done. So I left. And it was then that Hayley, who's in the room over here, and I created Dandelion, a place where children are outside all day, where gentle light and nature nurture their minds and their bodies. I honestly don't think anybody really truly thrives in a little box with lots of light and lots of loud noise. I don't think that happens. At Dandelion, our staffing ratios are really high. It's where all money goes, in our excellent staff, so that every child has the attention that they need. Keep using the word attention needing. And as Dandelion grew, because oddly, there was a real need for it, we do need places where children can be outside, and there's high ratios. And all of those things that we do, and we use philosophy and we make tools. As we grew, our team grew. When we started, it was Hayley and I in a small field in a very small school in North Norfolk, and the two of us just did everything. Well, that couldn't last forever. So our team grew. And start with, because we have a teaching background, we were very much, okay, let's look at the qualifications, let's look at this, let's look at that. And then slowly we began to realise, just like children, you need to look at individuals, you need to look at the unique person that you are employing. It is really important within your safer recruitment to begin to unpick the person that you are taking on. And that was a light bulb moment. It was life-changing for Dandelion. And what we found was that the people who joined our team were dedicated, who believed in the things that we believe. We believe them so passionately. Honestly, cut us, and it will be written throughout us. We believe it so deeply. And these staff really did. And as I say, what we began to realise, we were moving towards more and more of a team with a higher majority of neurodiverse people who were so passionate, so knowledgeable. It was a joy. And we introduced to support our staff, because now we needed to think about not supporting just children, but the staff deserve to be supported as well. Staff deserve the right environment, just like children do. We can't keep treating staff as if they're throwaway objects. That's not okay in any business. So we began to introduce wellbeing sessions. Staff, even children as well, staff offered wellbeing sessions every half term, but they can ask for them whenever they want. And we have before literally jumped in the car, driven across Norfolk to go and give a wellbeing to somebody who needs it. open conversations, and fostered an environment where staff felt safe to be themselves. A few weeks ago, I gave some training. It was in my house actually, and it was about positive promotion of positive behaviour. And there were 7 new staff, and so many of those staff were talking about how they felt they'd found a home, how safe it felt, how for the first time ever they didn't need to mask, and they talked about burnout. And again, that's not okay, is it? You don't go to work to burn out, but that is what is happening. And Dandelion, I would suggest, proves that it doesn't need to happen. That isn't the way it needs to be. We made it safe for staff to share their diagnoses, their passions and their needs. We adapted our environment. We're outdoors anyway, but we made sure it was calm and sensory friendly, and we provided tools like notebooks for people with ADHD, a space for stimming, flexible routines, and we foster a true inclusive culture of acceptance. We accept because that is the right thing to do. And do you know what? It's not just morally right, it's actually better for your business as well. The results, well, you can ask the staff in a minute, but the staff generally tell us they feel empowered, confident, authentic, able to be themselves, and their mental health improves and their resilience grows. We learned that neurodiversity is not a weakness. It is a strength. It brings innovation, creativity, quick thinking, empathy, and unique perspectives that help us to solve problems and to make better decisions ourselves. Oops, sorry. Diverse teams, it turns out, are 1.7 times more likely to lead in innovation and 70% more likely to capture new markets. Think about some of the big companies out there, the really big companies, and a lot of them have neurodiverse people at the top or near the top. That isn't an accident. There is a reason for that. And in the early years, particularly, we constantly problem solve for each child, and neurodivergent staff bring the same mindset. They see solutions others miss. They offer fresh ideas, and they foster a much deeper understanding. And when we communicate with families, which is part of the joy of our job, is working with families, that is what you do, we find that we can connect more empathetically, and our staff's varied experiences help us to truly understand each child's needs, because we see the world through so many different lenses at Dandelion. But why does this matter? Why does it matter for society? Why does it matter for businesses? And I would argue it matters because embracing neurodiversity unlocks potential, not just for individuals, but for the organisations, but for the businesses as well. It improves innovation, and decisions are smarter and faster. It is a real asset. It's really positive. For me, microphone, and us at Dandelion, it's simple. Neurodiverse staff are a massive asset. Every individual with their unique qualities, whether it's energy, calmness, organisational skills, empathy, spontaneity, bring value. They bring real value to Dandelion, but they bring value to wherever they work. We need to open our eyes to this, I think, as a society. We need to change the narrative. And what can we all do next? I'd suggest that we need to ask, maybe demand, that workplaces begin to support neurodiverse individuals in simple and meaningful ways. That notebook is so small, but it's meaningful. Listening is small, but it's meaningful. Just listen and ask people what they need in order to fill their potential. People can tell us, we need to be really careful that we're not doing the does she take sugar thing. We need to actually talk to staff about what they need so they can tell us. We need to change the narrative from that's a charity case to that's a competitive advantage. And maybe if you go for a job interview, or you've got a friend does and you're neurodiverse, or your friend is, and you're asked what your greatest strength is, maybe put forward that being neurodiverse is an asset. It's a selling point. It's something that people should be grabbing with both hands if you happen to be the best person for that job. It is not a barrier. It is a pathway. Because together, I really think we can change those statistics. We can create workplaces where everyone is valued, where masks come off, and where brilliance is celebrated in all of its forms. So let's be the champions of diversity. Let's unlock potential, because I would say that when we thrive, those around us thrive as well. And now I'm going to hand over to, we've got 3 members of Dandelion staff. We've also got a few members in the audience. I'm just going to let them introduce themselves, and then if you've got a question, it's a bit old hat, but if you want to put your hand up or wave at me or do whatever you need to do. And then we will repeat your question back because it's being filmed, and we will answer the question. If you have a question you prefer to leave until the end, then we'll feel when it's petering out, and then we'll just do some questions with the camera off. So would you like to introduce yourself first? This is Sam.
Hi, I'm Operations Manager for Dandelion. I've been working for Dandelion for nearly 6 years. Last year I was finally diagnosed with ADHD and autism, and I feel that I probably wouldn't have ever got to that point without the support of Hayley and Emma, to be able to work really closely with them to run such a big organisation. 6 years ago is never something I ever thought I'd be able to do, although I knew I had the skills inside. To have people who would support me to work in that role is huge. So I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to them. But yeah, that's me.
Tal.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it needs to be quite close, doesn't it, to your face?
I'm Tal. I'm a lead teacher and a SENDCo at Dandelion, the Eton branch. I was diagnosed with autism last year, which was quite a journey for me. I started at Dandelion 8 years ago,
Long time ago, yes.
And I started as an apprentice. I became a manager after 4 years or so.
Yeah, I think so.
But during my time as a manager, I really started to struggle, and I ended up having a bit of a breakdown. My mental health got very difficult, and at that same time, thanks to the person on my right, I also realised that I am autistic, and that's why I was struggling so much. So I stepped down as a manager and took on a new role, which I love, and I ended up telling Emma that I'm autistic, and thank you so much. She put so much in place for me, and here I am.
Thank you, Tal. And now Lenny.
Hello, I'm Pirate Lenny. I've been at Dandelion for over 5 years, and I'm also ADHD, like my colleagues, a lot of them. I've got a strong interest in autism and ADHD and other neurodiversities with 2 children who are also autistic, and I've got a really canny skill of spotting them in the wild. I find that at Dandelion we have lots of members of staff who either are diagnosed or self-identify as being neurodivergent, and possibly some who don't realise it yet. But it's amazing because we're in that space where we are outside, we have the understanding of each other and the support to just get up and walk away if we need to. And these are great. Cool, thanks.
Thank you very much. Has anybody got a question for us? Any questions? Hang on. Oh, yes, go on. I don't have to put this to you. You can shout it at me, yes.
Do the staff have to have qualifications in childcare or education or anything before they start?
Do one of you want to answer that? Or, yeah, Sam. So the question is, do the staff have to have qualifications in childcare before they start?
So we really support lots of apprentices. So Tal and I were both apprentices when we started. So as long as we have the correct number of qualified adults for the children to keep everyone safe, we really do support what we call grow your own dandelions. So Tal and I, as I say, both did all of our training so that we can do our job. But I think when we're interviewing, it's really important that we're looking at, like you said in your talk, the qualities of that person, that they fit with our values and ethos, so that we can continue to deliver what we deliver at Dandelion. Would you like to expand on that at all?
Yeah. I started with just a forest school qualification, So I began my apprenticeship with them, and I never thought they were going to hire me, actually. I found the interview so difficult that I cried during it.
Did.
But they saw something.
We were right, weren't we, Tar?
I think so. And yeah, so I've grown from there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have we got any? Question from Katie.
I've never worked anywhere that is as supportive as Dandelion and as inclusive. In my new role, working at other settings, trying to bring some more outdoor education to them, do you have any advice for me of what I can bring to make such a loving environment like that at Dandelion?
Thank you, Katie. I'm going to have to repeat it. I have to. Thank you. So Katie, probably to be very honest and open, Katie worked with us for a long time, didn't you, Katie? About 5 years. Again, you started as an apprentice, didn't you? And then went up to being a deputy manager. And SENDCo, she's fantastic. So Katie was just saying that she's never worked anywhere as inclusive and supportive, and now in her role where she tries to support other settings, she wondered if you had any advice as to how to support staff to feel included. Yep. Who would like to answer that? Do we start with that? Start with Lenny.
Hi, Katie. Personally, I think really the top-down management, obviously it's really important for a lot of things, but really focusing on everyone's strengths as a team and playing into everybody's strengths just to make sure that their voice is constantly heard. Those morning briefings that we have are really essential for that and for really making everyone feel valued. And then we know if someone's having a bad day or if they're having a bit of a tricky time, we can be aware of that and we can put accommodations in to support them. I just think supporting everybody in the team and just listening to them is the biggest step.
Did you want to say anything about it, Tar? Yes.
I'm not sure. I think I agree with you really, Lenny, because telling Emma and Hayley that I had a diagnosis was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And that's in an environment where we are so focused on well-being. So I'm very aware there must be real challenges in other places where it's maybe not quite so critical.
Did you find that when you told us about your diagnosis, did you feel that you were heard properly, that you were listened to, that space was given to you?
Yeah, exactly. I think just making the time for people, and it needs to start from somewhere. So it needs to start with one person being really open about their neurodiversity, and maybe if there's one person who could start to maybe take off the mask a little bit, then other people will follow.
Are you talking about the whole world, I think? It's not just early years, that should be everywhere, shouldn't it?
I just think if it doesn't come from the top down,
then
absolutely. Maybe that could be another possibility.
Yeah.
I've obviously got to say something as well, Katie. I just think that is just at the core of what we do as well at Dandelion, isn't it? It's the core of everything, every decision that we've made from the very beginning, the ethos and values that we're supporting the children to build and develop, then we're modelling it for them, and actually we're modelling it for each other. Recently, we had a group of interviewees come onto site, and they felt so comfortable. I actually found out today that one of those interviewees told us about their neurodivergent diagnosis during the interview, which I don't think has happened very often, but that was the first time they'd ever done that, and that made them feel really comfortable. So that's literally just from that initial point of coming onto site. So I think it's that whole culture of how we're talking to each other and talking to the children all of the time. I think that's really important, that's acknowledged, that's part of what we do, isn't it? Which you know all about. I feel like I'm telling you, and I need to expand a little bit more for everybody else to make it clear.
Thank you. Got any more questions? Hang on. Yes.
I think it's somewhat of the relationship, isn't it? It's about caring, isn't it? It's about caring for everybody and treating everybody as like you've been saying, that voice matters. And within Dandelions, you care for everybody. You've looked after you look after not only the children and the staff, but you look after the families as well, which we have been part of. And yeah, just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I have to repeat all of that? That was so lovely. That's obviously a small dandelion there, and a grown-up dandelion. And that is, I think it's quite important, because what you're saying, it's about the relationship of the community, isn't it? It's the staff and the families and the children. It's that we all work together and we all listen to each other and we all care about each other, and it's genuine. It's not pretend. Did I see somebody else? Yes.
Really rubbish question. I just like to say, I think that's really nice the way that you employ neurodiverse adults who then role model that adults have a place in society to do such an important job to their young people, who then, if they end up being neurodiverse, know that there is a place for them to have this important role, that they can be employed and do all these wonderful things. So that role modelling of adults who have that safe space and have that space to be who they are and what they need to do, and are so well cared for, are showing these children that they have this place, who will then provide that safe space for the children. I think that whole cycle, but again, Dandelion's reputation is so well known and so well considered that actually it's spread further than just your family and your grown-up dandelions. But actually, even within your community, it is spreading that ethos of that actually there's a place for everybody, that you have that to be valued and to be cared for, and that everybody should have it. So I think that even the fact that you do so much has spread, that ripple has spread out, and that everybody should be considered. So the fact that you do that, I think, has spread further than maybe you even know. So I think you have spread your work further, and I think that plays such a nice thing.
Thank you.
As well. So what you have done has made a massive impact wider. So
thank you. I'm going to sleep better tonight. That was worth leaving school. Thank you so much. That's very kind.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, do you mind if Tal follows that up? So that was just talking about the ripple effect of treating people and modelling how everybody has a place, every single person, including all neurodiverse people in that respect. And Tal would like to follow up with something from that. So thank you.
Thank you. So I started masking probably at the age of 2 at my own nursery. I've actually got a flash memory of probably the moment I started masking, and then when I was 30, finally realising that I was masking and starting to take the mask off. But now that I have, I try and make sure that I am my real self in front of the children at Dandelion, so they can see an adult stimming, so they can see an adult who maybe finds it hard making eye contact, so they know that if they maybe on their journey they might start masking, they realise hopefully they don't have to. That's just what I want to say.
I also just wanted to add to that obviously whilst labels are useful and appropriate to support children and adults to get the support that they need in life, the children and the adults that we work with are just people. We have human values. We're setting everybody up to succeed. We're giving out tasks to people that we know that they're going to be really, really good at, and the same for the children. We're supporting them in that way, and it's the same across the whole board. And I think that we are emotionally available to the children and to each other, and I think that's really important as well, is that that includes everybody. And I think for myself, I had a very different experience to Tal, but I think for me, a lot of what goes on for me is all up here, and a lot of self-doubt in my kind of abilities and what I can do. And I think to just know that everyone's got faith in me and that they're being honest with me in what their expectations are has changed everything. And obviously, again, as I said earlier, give me the confidence to do the job that I do.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Oh, hang on. We've got another question.
I just wanted to say that even before your diagnosis, you held a safe space for people that, for children to be themselves from the word go. And I just want to say that it's you probably feel even more empowered, but know that it's within you already and that it was always there and you have made safe spaces for people that neurodiverse and
Thank you. I think that was quite important, wasn't it, Tar, for you to hear that? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions? Oh, hang on, one at the back and then I'll come to you.
How many dandelions do you have across how many bases?
Aha. How many dandelions do we have across how many bases? Who would like to answer that?
Person that does all the HR, maybe? I'm going to look at Hayley while I answer this. 38 members of staff, and it's just about 80% of staff are neurodiverse, and we have 3 locations. One location has 3 settings in it. One location has 1 setting and one location has 2. So with the nurseries and the alternative provisions and our homeschool, forest school provision as well. So yeah, across 3 locations.
How many children altogether?
We have, I think it's about 170 children altogether. I'm getting a nod across all the board, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I passed that test.
Go on.
They're a small team, like on a relative perspective, so you're not a corporate kind of company. Do you feel that is one of the strengths that means that you can provide a safe space for staff and for the children as well? Do you feel like those smaller?
I think we.
Is big and
I was going to answer it. Sorry. Do you think that being small in Dandelion is? No, I'm here to stand here. Lenny, do you want to answer that? You're nodding. So, is it important that we're a smallish sort of group?
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, if you yes, yes, please.
So it is important that we are in a small group situation. I think that it's really important for the staff to build those relationships with each other and to get a good understanding of, actually, I know Tar doesn't want to talk to me today. I'm just going to leave him to it because he's quite happy getting on with what he's doing. He doesn't need to see me and I'm just going to make whatever hell he's going through a bit worse today. So it's just, you become more in tune to those small groups of people. You haven't got the hierarchies of people to deal with. You don't have that bitchiness that you might get in other work situations. It's so cohesive and we work so well as a team, and just being able to support each other and focus our attention on the children, which is obviously the most important thing. But as staff, we just value the well-being of each other so much and are aware that, oh no, Sam's having a really bad day today because this has happened. So I'm going to bring her in a cake and I'm just going to give her a hug and we'll ask if she needs a well-being. It's constantly being aware of everyone and how we can support them.
Thank you. It's not always cake, but quite often. Go on.
It also means the relationship between the manager and their team can be stronger and they can be more aware of their team's needs and also their abilities. So I think, yeah, it's very important to keep it small.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting what you just said about how everyone gets on, Lenny, is that there's no gossiping. It's such a different place to work. It's really hard to explain unless you've been a dandelion or you are a dandelion. It is, yeah, a completely different place to work. I was just thinking about, I read something earlier about working towards collective outcomes, and I thought that was really interesting, is that, yes, we all have our individual job roles, that there's, you know, it's an expectation that we're achieving something within our job role, but actually we know what the final outcome, what we want to achieve, and if actually that needs to be slightly adjusted at any time, we're all flexible enough and understanding enough within our team to be able to do that. And I think that's really important. Hayley and Emma have run the business as the senior manager team for 9 years.
12.
Until
Sorry.
Until, so about 9 years, until as the business did start to grow, actually it was really important that then there was another layer put in, because you can't catch everything when there's just 2 of you running across 3 settings. So I think that was really important. That wasn't just about the children, that was also about the staff, that there's enough senior people to be able to support everybody. So that was what I wanted to add to that.
Yeah. Even I'm sorry I interrupted you, because that was that wasn't good. No, I didn't pick up that. And sorry, sorry. Going to do you last. Hayley is the co-founder of Dandelion, who's being ignored here.
I think what's really key in organisations is the culture and the ethos, and I bang on about the word culture all the time. So although we have there are 6 kind of parts to Dandelion within the 3 settings, but what is key is that the ethos was very strong from the start. Emma and I were very clear about what the ethos is. You know, we can train staff in lots of areas, but if you can't align with our ethos and the way that we believe that you should speak to people and to children, then actually we can't teach that. And the culture within each part of Dandelion is really key to its success and to the team relationships. You know, like the team said here, you know, we've all got a common goal, and we all believe that children should be treated in a certain way, and therefore that adults should be treated in a certain way. And if you don't believe that, then you're not one of our tribe, because that is really at the core of every single member of Dandelion, no matter where they've come from, whichever part. You know, they've all had such different jobs and experiences, but that is what is key. They all buy into the culture and the ethos that is Dandelion, and no matter how big or small the teams get, what is key is knowing the staff. And like Lenny said, you know, seeing, actually I'm going to just stay away from Tal for a little while. I can see that he needs a bit of space. Let's give him that time, and knowing that actually that member of staff, okay, timekeeping is a real issue here, and this is a time-specific task. I'm not looking at anyone in particular. A time-specific task. I'm going to make sure that they've got a watch today. I'm going to make sure there's a timer in the office. I'm going to chunk time because I know that they lose concentration within an hour. So the managers in each part of Dandelion, I'm not looking at any of you in particular, really genuinely not looking. It's knowing that member of staff loses a notebook every week. You know, that is what is key, and that honesty and that openness, and having a bit of a giggle about it. You lost your notebook, okay, let's go and get you another notebook, and that is really what is key to Dandelion, and that's why the team is the team that it is, and they're all a really vital part of the machine that is Dandelion, and they're all very valued, and that's the end of my...
They are. I'm not going to repeat all that back, but it is absolutely true. They are really, really valued, and we are working absolutely to the same ends and the same ethos. Sorry,
Do you think it'd be possible to replicate your kind of ideology upscale to a big organisation, something under high time pressures, high safeguarding capacity, something like, say, the police service, the NNN, you know, children's services, something big scale like that, where they're under high data protection, a high case turnover, you know, the NNN on tight time scales, something like that. Is it possible to do that in those teams? Because, you know, we know neurodiverse people do really well with real physical jobs. So, you know, ADHD people will thrive in environments where they need to use imagination, creativity. You're on your feet, you're on your toes. You know, these people are really valuable in these environments. So there's no reason why you couldn't enter one of these industries, you know, and be really, really good at it. But it's still a challenge. So, you know, the ethos where you have enabled your staff to thrive in these kind of environments, would it be possible to upscale for your team of, you know, 40 to a team of, you know, 1,000?
I think it's a great question, because I hope that we can do it across everywhere. I think Sam wants to answer. Is it possible to? Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
So you were asking about if it's possible to upscale what we do to larger organisations, and this is something I'm quite interested in, actually, because I know of people who've had accommodations put in place to them working for other organisations. But it's about the ethos, isn't it? And it's about making sure that everybody is on the same page and everybody cares. And unfortunately, I think in some of these organisations, not everybody's on the same page, like Hayley just explained. We can't teach that ethos and culture, and we know immediately when we meet people, you know, at interview, we can tell straight away how they're interacting with the children, how they interact with us. Actually, the formal interview part of the interview day, it tells us normally less about that person. We want to see them out on site and how they're responding in those situations. And I think that is the big challenge. And I know individuals who've had lots of accommodations put in place, but the culture doesn't support it, and so then it's a real challenge for them to access those accommodations, because there's nobody at the top who's really enforcing that, who's really valuing neurodivergence and neurodiversity within the team, and that's why what we do is so important. And I think it's a real shame that a very small private business has to actually model that for everybody else, and I'd love to be able to do more with it, but I think that everybody needs to start accepting, like I said, that it's not about labels. Those labels need to be there, obviously, because people need to have the correct support in place, but what we need to look at is just setting everybody up for success, having those combined focus of outcomes, so we're all looking to get to our kind of set achievement of whatever that goal is within whatever department we're working in, and that you're working as that team to do all of those tasks. There's loads of individual experiences I could tell you, but I can't because they're not mine, so I don't feel like it's appropriate, so I'm trying to summarise, so I hope that makes sense. But I do, it's something that really does frustrate me, actually, and I'd love to be able to make a difference there. And I mean, we do regularly say Dandelion will take over eventually, and we keep trying, but I do think that we just really need for people to understand that they need to have that culture and that understanding at the heart of what they do, that we are all able to contribute really significantly to what we do.
And the world will be better if we make it, that if we change the culture, it will improve all of those places, won't it? We're not doing it. It's back to that thing, isn't it? Which I think is what you're saying. It's not about charity. It's not about charities. It's not about ticking boxes. It's not about percentages. It is actually about making the culture so that you do get the best people for the job, but you make the environment suitable for everybody. Have we got any more questions? Oh. Hello.
Hi, I just wanted to ask about your alternative provision.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
We can.
You've spoken about the nursery.
Yeah, we'll tell you about it. It's excellent as well. Who wants to talk about the alternative provision? Lenny, can you repeat the question, please? Sorry.
So you'd like to know a bit more about our alternative provisions. So we have two of these. There's one in Aylsham and one in Wymondham, and they are for children who just need a little bit more room to grow. So they might have been experienced anxiety, trauma. They might be on the autistic spectrum somewhere. They just might not have a lot going on at home and are really struggling to access school in a traditional setting. And our alternative provision is an amazing, amazing provision where they can come, and it's completely child-led. So it's all outside. They're away from those bright lights. They're away from the pressures and demands that are associated with accessing school. So we're not going to come in and tell them to sit down and listen. We're going to listen to them, and everything is from what they've experienced, and we're just there to help and support and guide them. So it's holistic therapies really through, and to support them to perhaps return back to school, or it might be that they're going back to a specialist and haven't quite got the provision for that yet. So it could be a stopgap, but we've had some children there for over a year, 2 years. So a considerable time for some children. Some children just come for a term, and it's to boost their well-being and make them in a better position to access learning again. We cover things, so they've got access to tool work, STEM activities, there's sensory activities, and again, we're all outside, so they can climb, they can run, we can introduce the heavy work. So for children who might have quite a sensory profile, who need to access like a sensory circuits or things, we can include that kind of activity throughout the day. So it's not a specific, this is the time to do an activity. if you need to go for a run before we sit down and start our fire and have our fire circle, that's fine. Have a run round, go and climb the tree. If you want to go and dig a hole, here's the spade. So again, it's completely child-led, and we're always building off of their needs and what they might need. So again, all the staff who work here are incredible, very well trained. I've got a master's in psychology, and the other staff have got similar qualifications to really understand the children, and we're all trauma informed. I hope I'm not talking too fast. To just understand the children's needs, and we then feedback with the school. We're sharing with the parents on a daily basis what's going on, what we're doing to support them, if anything's changed, so they've got a continuity and an understanding of how that child's accessing the day. It might be they can only access for an hour, but we facilitate that. Again, it's going back to that child's specific needs and how we can build on them to let them access more learning, to progress and their development.